The Eden Zero crew crash into Beliogoer in order to declare war against Draken Joe, with a surprise attack. Once they land on the planet, they are greeted with the Element 4, Draken's elite group. And in response, while Shiki, Wise, and Rebecca, Happy and Pino go off to save Lobelia, the 4 Shining Stars, Witch, Hermit, Sister, and Homura go off to face the Element 4. They each go off and instigate the battle against each of their individual opponents. Hermit goes against Fie, Sister goes up against Daichi, Homura against Kleene, and Witch against Laguna. With their opponents set up, they then activate their Requip to access their battle dresses to face their opponents in full force. Laguna and Witch face off as she blocks Laguna's water attack and then punches him back. Hermit faces off against Fie as she takes control over one of the drones, hacks into it, and has it fire against Fie. Sister faces off against Daichi as he then bends his 60-day torture sobriety coin as he gets ready to lift his torture ban, as Sister then proceeds to kick him in the nuts. She then states how it's cute that he thinks 60 days is a lot, as she then reveals that she is a 10-year torture-free dominatrix. She then bends this sobriety coin, technically, and then proceeds to launch it into Daichi's ass. I'm kind of going off narration here, but this is honestly the funniest fight in this entire arc. Homura charges towards Kleene, as Kleene then uses her wind ether gear to try and steal Homura's swords. Homura then uses the 5-sword fencing crane form to cut through Kleene's wind. And with that, the fights officially begin. First off is Hermit vs Fie. As she continues to use the hacked drone to fire against Fie, Fie then activates his flame ether gear and then shoots a ball of fire at Hermit, taking out her control matrix. With that, the hacked drone then falls to the ground, as Fie then punches into it with his flame ether gear, melting into it, and then grabs the inside of it, using it as a gun, hitting Hermit with a multitude of bullets, and then tosses the drone right at Hermit, square in the head. Fie then takes his opportunity to turn into fire, go into the sewer drains, and then go into one of his secret weapon stashes. He then grabs his trusty sniper rifle with a flame bullet and proceeds to aim towards Hermit as she is looking around to find out where he is. He then gets ready to use his flame ether gear flame ammo to hit Hermit square in the head. He then fires right at her. As the bullet is heading towards Hermit, it is revealed that while she was looking for where Fie was, she was running a ballistic simulator in order to find out which trajectory and place that Fie would end up firing a bullet at her from. She then jumps out of the way, dodging the bullet, now knowing 100% where Fie is located. She then begins to activate her hacking abilities, stating that where him being in his armory is where his luck ran out, as she activates the prison matrix, locking up Fie's entire floor where his weapons are stashed. She then proceeds to hack into each and every single one of his electronic weapons, stating that she can hack into any weapon that's hooked up to a network, thus sealing Fie's fate, as she reveals that she found Fie's exact location because his body temperature is much higher than the average human, and every modern android is equipped with heat sensors and thermal imaging, as a hologram of Hermit then appears in front of Fie, as she says you have no hope of ever making it as a sniper. As she then fires all of Fie's guns right at him with her attack gun Harvest, officially defeating Fie. But she said she gave an ether coating on all the bullets, and states that she is very kind because she does no pain, and that is the way of her heart. So winner of the first match is Hermit. Next up, we have Sister versus Daichi. We cut back to this fight as Sister is whipping Daichi with her Paradise Whip, as it is revealed that Daichi actually kind of likes this. Sister states that it's creepy, but then Daichi then begins to shiver, stating that he can't resist any longer and wonders if androids feel pain. As he then wraps Sister up in his tree ether gear and then proceeds to tie her up. He begins to use his ether gear pain tree to creep into Sister's body in order to make her feel pain. He then goes up to her and says that he likes that look on her face. He then asks her what she likes to be tied up, as he then does different poses, as Sister's like, I'm just gonna kill you. Daichi angrily shouts at her, saying go ahead and try, but you've been holding back for 10 years, which means you've been rusty. So let me teach you what real torture is, what real pain feels like. As he begins to use his pain tree to inflict a bunch of pain on Sister. She keeps saying she'll kill him, and she then smiles, stating that he's not half bad. and that what he's doing is good if you come on strong, and that he's finally making a face that she was expecting from him. She then uses the spell drive to basically free herself from Pain's tree, as she states that her power fixes abnormal status effects, and now she resists the bind status, essentially being a video game character in this instance. Daichi says that Ether Gear users can use their powers when they're tied up, but Sister reveals that the Shining Stars don't have Ether Gear, they just have Ether Optimization. She then cranks her arm, stating that she's always wondered what it was like to be the victim in that situation, but then proceeds to say that she prefers being on top. I bet she does. As she then uses her powers to heal Daichi's ass from the whipping that she gave earlier. She says that I'm restoring your stamina so I can have all the fun I want with you, as Daichi begins to burn up and that he's getting too much stamina. As Sister then uses her ability Overheal Destroy, essentially healing up Daichi's stamina so much that it causes the energy in his body to explode. And with Daichi helpless on the ground, she then states that torture time has begun. And then now she's going to be getting excited. So Sister's going to enjoy herself right now, and she wins. Let's see what's going on with Homura and Kleene. The battle goes on as Homura shows that the wind that Kleene is using will not affect her. But then Kleene then creates a giant tornado to pull in all the surrounding objects in the area and throw them towards Homura. Homura dodges out of the way and manages to get against the wall, dodging a giant pillar that was just clear of almost stabbing her right through the body. She then enters a building through a window, and it is actually a dance club, with Kleene waiting for her on a pole, stating how there was nobody around since Homura and her friends decided to attack. Kleene then uses her wind ether gear to throw a wind gust over at Homura, showing that the wind's color has changed, which this is her wind snatch, which takes everything in its range. Homura then tries to slice it, but her sword is then engulfed in the wind. Kleene reveals that she increased the quality of her wind, but then Homura attaches two of her swords together and begins to spin them around like a staff or a baton, creating her own gust of wind with these two blades, saying that she'll block her wind by creating her own, using warrior-made dual-blade imitation attack, Towering Crane Gust. Homura negates Kleene's wind, as Kleene is on the ground just freaking out and terrified, as there should be no wind except for her and her brothers, and that if the wind stops, Draken will absorb her. Kleene then starts to freak out, as she doesn't want to be absorbed by Draken. But then the hairpin on her head detects her emotions and then suppresses them, as Kleene then goes from being scared and terrified to being emotionless and calm and collected like she was when we first saw her. Kleene then creates another huge gust of wind, as Homura then creates wind with her own ether gear, as both wind currents then begin to clash, blowing the two of them back. Homura then uses the debris in the area in order to climb through the wind and get closer to Kleene. Kleene calls Homura's wind a nuisance and then surrounds her in a wind trap. She begins to try and compress the wind and makes a wall in order to keep Homura trapped. Homura then creates a reverse wind flow within this wind prison in order to break herself out, pushing Kleene and knocking her back. As Kleene is freaking out, wondering what is wrong with this woman, who is she, who does she think she is? As Homura reaffirms herself as one of the Demon King's 4 Shining Stars, Valkyrie Homura, the Sword of Edens. As she then finishes off Kleene with the warrior-made single sword attack Dragon Slash, defeating Kleene and getting another victory for the Demon King's 4 Shining Stars. The final matchup is Witch versus Laguna. Laguna is struggling against Witch, as she says that while he is very skilled, but he has no reason to fight right now, and that someone with no reason to fight for will not win. She then tells us what Laguna's backstory is, how he was once an actor, and that was the first thing she found when she looked him up. But then he suddenly retired, and now he is part of the dark underbelly of society, as now he is part of Dragon Joe's elite forces. As she wonders why he is doing this, he states that it's none of her business, but she says, "You're absolutely right, but I wish you would come back to fight me after you have reconsidered your reasons for fighting." She proclaims herself the Shield of Edens, and states that to protect her family, she will eliminate any enemy before her, and that is the reason she has for fighting. We then cut to later in the fight, as Witch then finishes off Laguna with a single attack called Eden's Glitter, which is a very powerful lightning attack that shocks and takes down Laguna. And with that, all 4 of the Shining Stars managed to defeat each of the Element 4 opponents. I saved Witches for last because that was the last fight to conclude, and it was the one that had the least amount of action. Which is fair to say because earlier in the arc, Witch took out 3 of Draken's goons without any effort, and since she can control Elemental Ether, which is wind, fire, ice, and lightning, it was a very strong matchup against Laguna, so it was fairly easy to see how she would be able to trounce him fairly easily, especially since she is very skilled at creating shields. But that's it, that is the 4 Shining Stars versus the Element 4. I know this is different from what I usually do. This summary-based narrative video style is something that I've never really done before, so let me know if you liked it. I might do this for other anime and manga in the future. For right now, I'm just going to do this for Eden Zero, and maybe I'll do it for Knights of the Apocalypse when the anime does come out. I'm only doing this for Eden Zero right now since the anime is currently airing, and we're getting these fights in the anime as we speak. So I might do more as more important fights like Draken vs Shiki is going to start up next, so I might do that, and I might even make one giant video going over the entirety of the Bellio Goer arc, future arcs, and just fights in general. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It shows you guys enjoy the channel and the content I make on here, and it makes me more encouraged to make more content for you guys. And if there's anything particular you want me to do, whether it be an arc-based narration or a singular fight you want me to make a video on, whether it be Eden Zero or some other series that I've covered, leave it in the comment section down below. There are just so many options for me to do, and I'd like to do stuff like this a lot more. But with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have an awesome day.